Have you ever left a discussion feeling unheard, a knot in your throat, as if your words diminish your strength? Perhaps you're surrounded by those who dominate with loud voices, their arrogance masking insecurity. And maybe you believed silence was weakness, not defending yourself was surrender. But what if that's an illusion? True power has never resided solely in words, but profoundly in their absence. Nietzsche, a thinker often misunderstood, grasped a crucial truth. Those who speak excessively reveal too much. The very need to convince places one at a disadvantage. The world teaches us to fight, explain, defend, but nature whispers a different path, more subtle, more potent, infinitely more intelligent. He saw silence not as a void, but as an overwhelming presence. Silence unsettles, destabilizes, forcing the other to confront themselves. This is for you, constantly ignored, overshadowed, invalidated. For you, leaving conversations feeling unheard. For you, tired of being the easy target. Perhaps you've mistaken your silence for submission. But today, I'll show you silence as your most formidable weapon. True victory lies not in winning arguments, but in never needing to engage in them. Prepare to see silence anew, not as a lack of response, but as the definitive one. Let's explore Nietzsche's insights and master any situation without uttering a single word. The trap of justification. The ego's loudest cry, why this urge to respond, rebut, correct, prove our rightness? Deep down, we're conditioned to believe truth demands a fight. Silence equates to defeat. But Nietzsche saw this as a symptom of profound weakness. Behind it lurks the ego, fragile, intolerant of questioning, mistaking disagreement for attack, turning discourse into a battlefield. Nietzsche argued, most don't seek truth in argument, but power. They reaffirm beliefs, not from conviction, but because their foundations are shaky. Argumentation becomes defense, a desperate ego's cry for narrative control. Meaning, the very need to justify your stance reveals you've entered their game, already losing. That need exposes your craving for acceptance, validation, understanding, what Nietzsche termed herd morality. Living under others' expectations, seeking their approval. But this quest for approval breeds weakness. True strength, Nietzsche asserted, lies not in convincing, but in the lack of that need. It's holding your vision amidst ridicule, criticism, rejection, being misunderstood, and remaining unshaken. He proposes a power measured not in verbal victories, but in internal mastery. A power born of remaining calm amidst chaos, growing when you cease reaction. To truly win, grasp this. Discussion is theater, and the first to act is already lost. Nietzsche knew the reactive mind is subjugated. The observing mind is dangerous, above the need to prove. But if not reaction, how do we exert power? If words fail, how do we convey strength silently? Nietzsche had the answer, the Übermensch. The Übermensch, the being transcending common morality, dominating through absolute self-control. The Übermensch doesn't need debates, cheap emotional games. They observe, understand, choosing speech and silence with precision, grasping what others ignore. Silence is language. Not to convince, but to impose presence. The Übermensch's silence isn't empty. It's a threat, authority, the sound of self-mastery. While others shout, respect is commanded by their gaze. While others explain, they observe, revealing weaknesses with calm. Their silence is a wall, breeding despair in those trying to decipher it. In that despair, mistakes are made, balance lost. This silence isn't passivity, but absolute control of energy, strategic economy. The Übermensch knows each word is a revealed move, each reaction an exposed weakness. Hence, quietude, not from lack of words, but lack of need. They've transcended the need to prove. Their presence speaks volumes. disturbing because it forces others inward. In a noisy world, masters of silence are kings. The psychological earthquake. Silence in the mind of others, but why is silence so unsettling? Why the threat felt in non-reaction? What transpires in the mind when confrontation yields to overwhelming absence? The answer lies in psychology. To grasp silence's power, we must first understand the chaos it ignites within others, deeper than it seems. Silence isn't just no sound. It's a mirror reflecting unbearable truths for many. Non-reaction forces the other to hear their own voice, confront their arguments without external resistance. This destabilizes, as most speak not to express, but to protect, convince, hide the void between word and self. Silence makes their disguise fall away. Social psychology shows silence in conflict is perceived as judgment, regardless of intent. The speaker feels exposed, insecure. Without your response, they lose narrative control. The brain alerts the amygdala, triggering fear and anxiety. They project their fears, judgment, insecurity detection, bluff exposure. In this psychological battle, silence is an invisible, deeply felt blade. Nietzsche sensed this. The average person, a slave to reactions, acts on impulse, vanity, fear of oblivion. The superior spirit, self-mastered, remains silent, knowing each word is a piece given to the enemy, each reaction a screamed vulnerability. Silence devastates manipulators, who thrive on emotional control through your reactions. Non-reaction breaks the cycle, panicking the manipulator who needs your validation. Without it, they're lost, exposed, their hidden weakness revealed. The art of strategic absence. Silence as a weapon now. Transform silence into a conscious weapon. No longer a shield, but sharp blade. First, silence when your will screams for response. This requires killing the desire to react, to justify, to prove right. True silence is born from killing that need. Understanding you own nothing, truth needing no utterance to exist. Second, observation. While others talk, lost in explanation, filling voids, you listen, not awaiting your turn, but like a hunter sensing prey. Perceive hidden fears, subtle contradictions, arrogance masked insecurities. Store it all for surgical speech, if any, with the precision of one mastering the other's emotional terrain. Third time, let silence linger. Pause creates tension, and tension is power. As the other speaks, awaiting a reaction that doesn't come, they experience internal collapse, discomfort growing, mind filling the void with assumptions, fears, paranoia. A simple look with silence can outweigh 10 well-formed sentences. Fourth, unpredictability. Mastering silence makes you unpredictable, and the unpredictable is feared. They don't know what to expect, losing advantage, becoming cautious, measuring words. You invert interaction logic. From reactive, you become the conversation's center of gravity. Here, silence isn't absence, but pure dominance. The dark side. Silence as a silent scream, but there are moments where the game isn't just winning, but emotional survival. Situations where you're not debating, but being used, manipulated, drained, unknowingly surrendering power daily. You're being dominated without a word. That's when silence isn't strategy, but a silent scream from one losing control. Nietzsche knew this. What's more perverse than being silenced? It's being conditioned to believe silence is your only option. Swallowing anger, conceding, avoiding conflict, equated with maturity, balance. But what if it's a trap? Often, this silence isn't wisdom, but disguised submission. Nietzsche saw it with brutal clarity. What you call peace is often just your domesticated surrender. Becoming the silent authority. The path to true power, we reach the final point. Understand this with absolute clarity. True silence is pure presence. Mastery, the sign you no longer react to the world, but shape it with your very being.